So, good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to be focusing on our eyes. So, wherever you're set up, if you can set yourself up in a position, if you're indoors, that allows you to look out your window, that'd be great. And don't worry about looking at me or the computer at this moment. So, if you need to move yourself away from the computer or just, whatever, go for it because we're going to be using our eyes a lot today. Our ears, too. So, again, if you can crack your window, that's great. And if you're outside, just get yourself in a position of like the most pleasurable view. That will work perfectly. So let you guys all get set up. Okay. So let's begin by just letting ourselves find quiet. So find the quiet within ourselves, and we'll start by feeling our feet on the earth. So if you can put both feet on the earth, I know a lot of us, especially ladies, like to sit cross-legged, but just see how it feels to sit with both your feet on the earth or the ground beneath you right now, and just noticing how that feels. See if you can tap into the connection between your soles of your feet. So first, let's start there. Let's just feel the soles of our feet. Bring your attention, your awareness down to the soles of your feet right now. We often don't notice them unless we're putting our socks on maybe in the morning, or if we have naked feet in the summertime, we start to notice our feet a little bit more. So bring your awareness to the soles of your feet right now, just feeling what that feeling is like. Can you feel the heartbeat in the soles of your feet right now? See if you can find that. We'll take a moment just to find the heartbeat in our feet. And then just imagining, some may believe it's true and some may not, so we'll just play with it. Imagine that the earth has a heartbeat as well. And I want you to search for that now with the soles of your feet, whether you found your own heartbeat in your feet or not. See if you can find the place where the heartbeat of your feet and the heartbeat of the earth, even if it's on a wood floor or a concrete floor, see if you can find the place where that meets. And as if you are a little root from a seed that has been dropped onto the earth, shaken off in the winter winds, and you're beginning to sprout right now. You're going to send your roots down deep into the earth. So see what that feels like. Can you feel your root? That beautiful little taproot going down deep into the earth, looking for nutrients, looking for the darkness, actually seeking the darkness. Deep inside the earth, she has her own rhythm, her own sounds. Maybe there's a calmness there. It's different from the upper world here. So find that calmness, find those sounds, find those nutrients, and bring them up with you. Your next deep breath in, allow all of that to come up into your body through the soles of your feet. Notice how far up that moves and where it stops. You can just exhale without any judgment, just let it go. And your next deep inhale in, see if you can get that to go a little bit further up into your body, moving all those sensations as far up into your body as you can. We'll do that a couple more times, each time stretching a little bit further into your body. And on your final breath, see if you can get those sensations to travel all the way up to the crown of your head and maybe even beyond. Good work. So allow this just to stay with you. Allow this to keep moving if you're feeling that movement between yourself and the earth. And even if you might not, that's okay. We're just playing here today. So now we're going to bring ourselves back to our heartbeat, finding the rhythm in the center of your chest. Noticing your posture right now. Noticing if you have any areas of your body that are tight. And if you want to adjust your posture or soften any of those tight places, you can do so. And sometimes it's even helpful to find a place in your body that naturally is just soft and allowing, to help remind those places in your body that are tight what that feels like. Good job. So now we're going to send our awareness. You can close your eyes if you want to for this next part. We're going to bring our attention moving from the inner world to our outer world. So see if you can just feel your earlobes, noticing the place even where your ears connect to your skull. What does that feel like, that connection there? Now traveling a little bit down your ear canal, noticing where all the magic happens in there, all the sounds that enter your body gets transmuted into thoughts and ideas and meanings. So from that place of a little party in your head, go ahead and send your awareness out to the world around you. Just allowing yourself to become aware of the sounds. Don't make any judgments or try to figure them out just yet. Just notice who's around right now. And I'll go ahead and search for those sounds that are a little bit more subtle. They might take a little bit more of a stretch to hear. Let's search those out. See if you can find where they are on the landscape around you right now. Good work. Now go ahead and listen for the sound that is furthest away. What's the furthest sound you can hear in this moment? And then slowly walk yourself back from sound to sound as if you're jumping across the forest or the houses or whatever it may be to get back to that really subtle and quiet sound that may have been closer to you. Just jumping across the sounds. And sometimes we get stuck on one particular sound, but allow yourself to keep jumping until you get back to the quiet, soft, subtle sound. And then once you've found that again, you can slowly start to open your eyes Let your gaze fall upon something off in the distance. Just let yourself be with that for a moment. Just noticing the shape, the texture. And as you're allowing that shape just to be what it is, go ahead and start to expand your peripheral vision. So you're still going to look forward to one point, but slowly your eyes are going to expand further, or your vision is going to expand further and further and further out. And just notice when you reach the limit of that stretching. What does that feel like at the edge of your vision? What are you becoming aware of? Just while you're still in this softened gaze, this owl eyes, remind yourself about your breath. Just noticing how your breath is moving in and out of your body right now. Sometimes that can be a challenge to go from within to the outward world. Just let yourself dance with that a little bit today. And on your next exploration in the outer world, I want you to we're going to do a couple things. So either I want you to find a bird that you can see, and if you can't, I'm going to have an assignment for those who may not be able to see a bird just yet, but I'll give the first assignment to those who can. So if you can see a bird, I want you just to look at it without naming it. Don't forget about it. It doesn't matter. Today, it doesn't matter who it is. I want you just to look at it with fresh eyes, as if it's the very first time you've ever seen this bird before, and just let yourself play with it. Follow along with that bird, go where it goes. Just notice the shapes, the colors. We'll stay there for now. So for those who can see a bird, go ahead and travel along with it right now on its journey in this moment. And for those of you who aren't seeing any birds, what I want you to do is think about the last time when we were out at this time of day, and when you did see a bird, where was that in your yard? And I want you to go ahead and look in that direction. If it's on the ground, I want you to look at that place on the ground. If it's in a tree, find that place in the tree. And then this is going to be the playful part. I'm going to invite you to just look at that place and wait. Wait for the bird to show up. And just keep looking. And so those of you who are watching a bird, go ahead and play with that one. And those of you who don't have one just yet, just keep waiting and just notice that place where that bird was in the past, and just get to know that place, become familiar with it. But keep looking at that one point. Don't look all around. Just stay on that place where you think that bird was or may show up. And we'll stay in silence for a little bit here. It's okay if you need to turn or look in a different direction. If you're thinking of maybe even stand, you might even need to go to a different window if you think that that's where the birds were the last time. That's totally fine as long as you can still hear us here. And the question that you can hold in your mind right now, both parties who are either watching an active bird or watching the place where the bird was, is what is this bird teaching me about itself or its environment right now? Good work. We're just going to keep staying with this one for a while longer today. We'll just have a nice experience in silence, or at least inner silence right now without me talking. And so, for the last couple of minutes, if you're watching a bird still, you can continue to follow it while asking yourself that question of what is the bird teaching me about itself or its environment. And if you're not watching a bird currently, keep looking at that place with curiosity, with the same question, and just see what comes. And now, if you are watching a bird, I'd like you to just choose one part of that bird. Like, if they're far away, it's okay. It might be hard to see a detail, but whatever little detail you can find in that bird, maybe it's just the side of its body, something just mundane. It doesn't have to be this the most radiant part of the bird, just maybe a tail feather or its toe, whatever it might be. And if it's a tree or the ground, it's the same thing. You can still look for just one element of the earth there where the bird usually is, and let yourself focus on that for a little bit. And just kind of ponder those questions of what is it teaching me about itself right now? Okay, so take the next moment or two and offer your own sense of gratitude or blessing to those that you interacted with this morning. Good work, y'all. So, thank you for those who need to head out. You're welcome to head out. Kevin's here. Hi, Kevin. And for those who want to stay for our chat, please stick around. So I'd love to hear what that experience was like for you all, if anything came up. And remember, it doesn't have to be profound, it could just be something very simple that came to you. And sometimes the simple things are profound. So if anyone would like to share, you can just raise your hand and share away. Yeah, Cheryl, please go for it.
I didn't see a bird at first, but I remember where I see the birds when I'm looking out of this window. And so I looked up in the tree and a bird flew there. Too far away to know what it was. It doesn't matter. It flitted through the branches, getting food, and then perched on the end of the branch and just hung out for a while. And I had the feeling that it was just enjoying the day, enjoying the sunshine, which is warm in its own special way because of the sun. And then a robin started singing off to my right. And the squirrels started playing in the tree. And I thought, everyone is having a grand day today. And I too will have a grand day today.
I
So
love that.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, Cheryl. Thank you. Sweet. Thanks so much. Who else would like to share their experience? Yeah, Kevin, please.
Nice to see you, Kristi,
Thank you.
everyone. What a pleasure to be here this morning. I live in a boat on a river in Oregon, and so my bird this morning was a cormorant, actually several probably. And I noticed this morning, I've never noticed it, so I really appreciate this morning. You know, when we started, there was a cormorant right there, popped up and drifted along, shaking itself off, and then it dove down again. And then it appeared, you know, a couple of minutes later, a little closer to the boat, and then it took off in this particular vector and disappeared. And then at the very end, uh, cormorant, you know, I was still looking at the spot where I first saw it, and it popped up again in that very same spot. And then it shook itself off like the last time, and it did this exact same maneuvers, dove back down, came up again closer to the boat in the same spot, flew off in the same vector, and it's like, I didn't realize they had their little circuits that they kept going around and around and around. Maybe they all have their own paths that just happen so, you know, you have to be waiting across time like this in order to ever notice. So that is a huge thing for me. When I think about it, it's like, yeah, I always see the cormorants kind of in the same places. I didn't know that. And the profound thing about cormorants is so obvious, right? When they can live on and they live beneath the water. They're such amazing creatures. And the water is cold. It's in the low 40s and it's cold. You know, I just don't, I'm so impressed with these wild beings. They're so athletic and impressive and oh my God. So that's enough. Thank you.
That's so beautiful, Kevin. Thank you so much. That was a similar experience for me too. Just I tried this out before I tried it all out on you. It's kind of like baking something for yourself before you try to feed it to your friends. so so I tried this out this morning and I wasn't seeing a bird right away, but then I had that idea in my mind to imagine where I've seen them, and within a minute a bird showed up right where I thought it would show up, and I was like, all right, this could work. So but when I was playing with it this time of day, like I was like, no, actually, I think they're over here. So I had to turn my body and like look out this side of this other window. And again, like it showed up. When not the very first part, I just was sort of like instinctively, just like, or not instinctively, but just thoughtlessly, kind of without thought, looking to like my eye level. And I thought, no, wait a minute. I think actually right now, this time of day, they're usually, I would imagine them higher in the tree. And that's where I saw them come in, was higher in the tree. And I just thought like, yeah, that there's these trails that they follow, these roads, these rivers, these whatever they are in the sky that, you know, unless we are attentive to them day after day, you know, where we sit in one spot time after time and we observe these things, we don't really notice it. It's just kind of like, oh, look, there's a turkey vulture. Oh, there's a turkey vulture. But if we notice it every day, we see like, huh, every day around this time, it always seems to go by. And of course, there's the new ones that come in, or someone does something different and whatnot. But there are the ones that have their roads and their trails and their branches, and and I just, for me, that's so fun to think about, like all these roads out there in the sky or in the trees. And I thought of Tarzan this morning. These little birds that were moving through the trees, they just kind of reminded me of like Tarzan. And Tarzan had like particular vines, that he knew and he remembered, like he would like grab onto and be able to move through the forest. And I think of these birds, like they have their branches. And also, the last thing I'll share is that the idea of just so many options, like even though in certain circumstances or certain habitats, like there's less and less available for birds, um, still what's out there for those who are, still here, there's a lot of options, and I was just seeing like the plethora of branches that they have to land on and to roost in, and how fun that kind of is, thinking of like we all go back to our one home every night, and we don't have a lot of options as humans of like where we can spend the night anymore. Maybe we used to, maybe when we were more migratory and hunter gatherer, we could just sort of sleep wherever. And I think that's still possible. We just have to be a little bit more comfortable in our skin and in the skin of the outdoors. But anyway, it's just like you're saying, Kevin, these wild beings, just how magnificent they are, that they could just sort of choose like this branch today, like I'm just gonna sleep here. It doesn't have to be the same place as last night, but anyway, it was just sort of a fun thought, fun to go on this little journey with them today. So I'm grateful for the birds this morning. Anyone else want to share their experience? What they noticed? Please, Julia, go for it.
Well, this could be a little depressing, but I had doves at the feeders and on the fence this morning, so I picked a mourning dove. And one thing I noticed, or I hadn't noticed before, they're not a solid color. They have these black splotches on their back, seem, just kind of little decorations. And they tend to just sit, and I used to have an adult male violin student, and he would come in, they come in through the garden to a door where they come in for their lesson. And he would comment because he was a dove hunter. So he saw these doves as dinner, and I saw them, I don't, and in fact, it came to me, I thought, oh, now I understand why doves are a symbol of peace. They're just really peaceable birds. Maybe not at the feeder if somebody else is there, but but they're peaceful, and so I thought, would I want to be that bird? And I see it as easy prey, like a sitting dove, and no, I don't want to be an easy target. And I was trying to think of something else that I wanted, and I kind of went through, some of the smaller ones. And bluebirds, I have some bluebirds who are hanging around, but they're not tough enough. A few years ago, we had a lot of cold, and a lot of our bluebirds died, didn't make it. But these have made it through at least the short time of 0-degree weather Fahrenheit, that we had. And then I had to come into my vision. There's a spot where the red-shouldered hawks, they're back. They have a nest in a big sycamore across the street. And it's wonderful to watch, the babies, you can catch them, but a red-shouldered hawk came and perched on the branch. And I'd gone through falcons and bald eagles and things. And I'm wondering if that red-shouldered hawk is just a message for me. I don't know that I want to think of myself as a raptor, as a meat eater, But well, I worry about the environment, and we almost lost our bald eagles because of DDT and so on. And this is one of the this is an area for where they restored the population of the southern bald eagle. And so next Saturday we have Eagle Days, and now they're around, but eagles are hunted also, so they're not supposed to be. But anyway, I'm contemplating. I'm going to reflect on whether a red-shouldered hawk, maybe it came there to give me some ideas. I don't know. So that's it.
I like that, Julia. You got lots of options today, and it took you like those birds took you on many different journeys within yourself. Lots of reflection for yourself this morning with them. That's rad. Thank you for sharing that. Who else would like to share? If you're feeling content? Oh, okay. Linda, go for it.
Just a quick one. I was looking at the feeders that were directly in front of me because I knew that I would be distracted by the feeders if I tried to look anywhere else. And there was a large bird, which I assumed was a flicker. And he was, but it was very interesting to watch him. He would just work on a certain area very carefully, and then you could see he would eat a little bit there, and then he'd work on another area in the suet feeder. And then in the middle of it, 2 or 3 small birds flew in, and I didn't know where they were. I was trying to look at them with fresh eyes, and I was just looking, but they started hanging upside down from the feeder to get it so they didn't bother the flicker. So the flicker had his spot, and I figured they had to be pygmy nuthatches because they're just such goofballs. They're so fun to watch, and they're just hanging there, and picking away, and it was just really delightful, really, to watch them. So, and then I checked with binoculars when we ended just to make sure, and they were pygmy nuthatches. So.
I love that image that like what came to you was like this goofball energy, and you're right, like your own knowledge of the pygmy nuthatches from observing them before, like you could key into that without binoculars. You could just pick up on that goofball energy, and you're like, oh, they're probably pygmy nuthatches, and just how they coexist with the flicker, who's a bigger, tougher dude, or a girl than they are, and like how they kind of have to work around to do like, just hang upside down and get it this way, because I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sort of fun. That's a fun one for you today, Linda. I like that.
Yeah. Thank
Right
you.
on. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Cindy, go for it.
Okay. So my aha was for days and days out here by the pond. I've been hearing a sound, the wimpy little staccato sound of a bald eagle, kind of. And but they can't really hide very well. They're huge and bright. And I keep looking for what is making that sound. What is making that sound? And so I was following instructions and doing what I was supposed to do here, which was great. I zeroed in on the sound. It was coming from a starling. And I discount starlings, like a lot of birders do, I suspect. And I paid attention. It also did a meadowlark. Anyway, and I thought, now what am I discounting in myself? Because I'm good at just rubbing out and ignoring things that I'm such a judger of. This is good, this is bad. And starlings have been on my bed, and so I just tend to ignore them. And so then I thought, well, what parts of myself am I doing that to? And so that's the journey I'm gonna write about now. That's what came to me.
Thank you so much for that, Cindy. I really
Mhm.
appreciate the depth that you went to with that question, for the starlings and for yourself. Thanks for inspiring that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really curious where that takes you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And sounds like you have something to share too.
Yeah, I heard my
Right.
I heard my first screech owl, but it wasn't a screeching ee. And because you talked about the pattern, and I heard this for the second time this week, and the first time I thought it was somebody's cell phone ringing. It was doing the trilling, and I thought, is that a woodpecker? And I'm checking. We tune into things, and I'm checking my cell phone. Have I hit a button in my pocket, and am I butt dialing somebody? What's going on here? And I thought, no, maybe it's somebody's outside phone on their barn. And we just have a hard time because we get so tuned into these human sounds. And I'm thinking, that's not, and it turns out I'm thinking, is it a woodpecker? But we have to train our thoughts thinking, it sounds like a human sound, but it turned out it was a screech owl calling, and it happened about the same time, right when it was getting dark. And I was with my husband then, and I said, do you hear that? He's like, yeah. I said, do you think, we had but then Merlin helped, because this was like no other, it wasn't a screech owl screeching. But when I went through all the Merlin options, way down there in the list, it was this trilling sound, sounded like a cell phone. But we tune ourselves in, and I'm thinking, it sounds so man-made. But maybe that's why we make sounds certain ways, because they're either pleasing or not pleasing. Well, we're judging what sound is pleasing, what it isn't, But yeah, it was a revelation.
Wow, Anne, well done.
Yeah.
Good job on
Yeah.
that one.
It wasn't my cell phone, and I wasn't crazy.
You're not crazy, no.
No.
I find it kind of goes the opposite way for me sometimes. If I've spent a lot of time birding, then like every sound becomes a bird sound, and it's like, oh no, that's just like the oil rig over there making like a squeaking sound, and I'm like, oh look, what kind of bird is that, Yeah, but it's sort of whatever we spend most of our time with, and we'll turn the sounds into those things, So yeah, yeah. Thanks, Anne. Well, thanks, y'all. It was so good and rich to hear everybody's journey with this morning. And each one of you, I feel like, has just really inspired me today to go to a deeper place within myself. So, and with the birds. So thank you so much. Thanks for playing. Yeah. And we'll see you next week. I don't think there's any holidays coming up. So next Monday, same time, same place. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next time.